Hey there Spartans, this is Richard Williams here with the 12-hour hurricane heat information and gear list video. This video is going to give you the essential gear list that you will require as well as the expectations on the day for the event. Now, to start with, the 12-hour hurricane heat is a very challenging event. It's one of the most challenging ones that Spartan Race runs, and it is driven by the cultural ethos of individual excellence. Unlike the standard hurricane heat, which is about teamwork and camaraderie, the 12-hour is very much about individual excellence and the ability of you to contend with the course. Now, unlike some other 12-hour hurricane heats or other events, this is not you versus the instructors. I promise you that. We are not there to break you down. We are there to provide you with challenges which are feasible, which are potentially incredibly challenging and even overwhelming for some people. However, we're not there to purposefully try and make anybody DNF. We are there to give a flat, even and challenging event that people can do if they are prepared. So we don't have any targets in terms of disqualifications. What we want is we want everybody to go and have a challenging, rewarding time to learn something about themselves and, where possible, to finish the entire 12 hours. So, on the day, the Saturday to be expected, registration begins at 4:30 p.m. That means the expectation is that you are there at 4:30 p.m. to make sure that everything will be happening. Within that first hour, we will also be performing the mandatory gear checklist. So make sure you are there at 4:30 p.m. so that we can start the event proper at 5:30 p.m. So that will go for 12 hours. So for those of you who are completing the ultra, yes, you will have time to get yourself ready and sorted the following day should you finish at the 5:30 a.m. mark. So 4:30 p.m. registration on Saturday, 5:30 p.m. start. The gear check will happen in between there. In terms of what to expect, there are no promises or expectations on the 12 hours, so do not expect to be told what is coming. You will not be told. It may be things that you have experienced before, but I guarantee that there are a lot of new elements. So if you've done hurricane heats before, especially this year, consider yourself marginally more prepared than people who have never done one of my hurricane heats. So, let's get on to the gear list. The gear list has a mandatory and a non-mandatory element. Now, when it comes to the mandatory side of things, it is a short list. For those of you who have done events before or even just have some gear at home, you will probably find you have 90% of things which are required. There's very little that is needed. I'm not going to make any expectations in terms of making you go out and purchase things. That is up to you. Most of this stuff you can scrounge. Now, first element is, of course, your pack. So here I have, this is a 511 pack. It is very good. It's the Rush 24. This would be my recommendation. This or something similar. However, the stats that I want to give you are between 20 and 30 litre capacity. So that's 20 and 30 litre capacity, and I definitely recommend that it comes with a waistband. It will be weighted. So if you have a pack and it doesn't have a waistband, then I'd recommend getting your hands on one. So in terms of the weight that must be inside, now these are minimums. If you are carrying more because of water or food or additional equipment, that is okay. Now this, unlike previous events or other events that you may have done, which is based on gender, this is based on body weight. So the weight of your pack is equivalent to your weight and your mass. So if you weigh less than 65 kilograms, it's less than 65 kilograms, you must have a pack that is equivalent of 10 kilograms. If you are between 65 kilograms and 85 kilograms, it must be 12 kilos. And if you are above 85 kilograms, then your pack must be 15 kilos. Now this includes food and water. So if your pack is weighed at the beginning with food and water at that weight, it is counted as acceptable. So 2 liters of water, for those of you who don't know, is equal to 2 kilograms. So your pack with 2 liters of water in it has at least 2 kilograms. So for example, if you were 75 kilograms, you would have a 12 kilo pack, 2 liters of which will be water. So those are the weights. Less than 65 kilograms is 10 kilos. Between 65 and 85 is 12 kilos. Above 85 is 15 kilos. If you're on the dot, 65 kilos or 85 kilos, I leave it up to you. I'd pick the more challenging weight. Now, that is the mandatory element. A pack between 20 and 30 litre capacity of those weights. Next one, water, hydration. 2 liters. I recommend having a Camelback setup. I don't recommend water bottles. So make sure you have the setup ideally inside the pack, but easily accessible to refill. Food, nutrition, this is up to you. You can pretty much take whatever food you want, so long as it is enough to fuel you for 12 hours. So make sure that that is in there, that is in the pack, it is easily accessible. Clothes, this is mandatory, remember that. So black shirt, it either can be unadorned or Spartan branded, I don't mind. Something like this is fine, so long as it is black. You will also need long pants. I don't mind the variation, however you will need long pants. You need 2. You need 1 for wearing and 1 for changing into if anything happens to that primary pair. So make sure you have 2 pairs of those. Black shirt, long pants, no exceptions. Tights do not count as pants, so long pants. Next item, you will need a roll of duct tape. Now this needs to be unopened and new, so it needs to still have the packaging on it. So that is duct tape, unopened. The next item you will need is a dowel rod, minimum length 1.2 meters. Try and keep this standard. You can get them from Bunnings at that length. It is a 1.2 meter dowel rod. So make sure you bring that along. Next one, head torch. Mandatory item. It needs to be a head torch with enough batteries to get you through 12 hours. If you are looking for recommendations, the AROO brand, AYUP, AROO, is incredibly strong, incredibly tough, incredibly bright, and has an incredibly good battery. Okay, it is a lithium-ion one though, so you will need to make sure you have a backup for that one. So that is your head torch and batteries to get you through the night. Glow sticks, 1 red, 1 green. You can bring more than that if you want, you don't have to. 1 red, 1 green glow sticks. Sharpie, black Sharpie, bring it with you. And the final mandatory element is 1 peeless whistle. So this is a whistle that will operate in an emergency situation and does not require the pea inside of it to create the sound. You can get these usually from endurance stores, running stores. They will have them. They often come on hydration packs as well. So you might already have one and not know it. Now, additional clothing, everything after this moment here is just recommendations based on previous hurricane heats. So I would recommend merino thermals. They feel dry even when wet and do an incredible job of keeping you warm. Definitely recommend a windproof jacket. So this can help you out a lot when you are cold and wet and it is windy. Gloves. Gloves to keep your hands warm and operational, very important. When it comes to footwear, I'm not going to give you anything mandatory. It does not need to be boots, it does not need to be runners, it doesn't need to be anything at all. However, I definitely recommend if you're going to wear shoes, put toe socks on inside of them, especially if you can get your hands on some of the merino ones. They are fantastic and they will prevent any sort of foot wear. Additional items, a Leatherman, multi-tool, even just a simple knife will be incredibly helpful on the day. That is not mandatory, it is optional. Waterproofing for your bag. You can buy these little satchel things from Anaconda. They're great. You can put anything in here that you need. A garbage bag in a pinch does 2 jobs. First one is it can help you additionally waterproof. Second one is if you are in trouble, you can use it as an emergency body liner in the same way that you would for with a space blanket. However, you don't need it. Second last item, bring a space blanket. I definitely recommend having that handy. And then last item, not mandatory, but basic first aid. So we're talking band-aids, we're talking disinfectant, we're talking pair of tweezers and a pair of scissors, just in case you do get any bumps and scrapes along the way, so you can self-manage those things. We are not going to be stopping for scrapes and bruises. If you cut your hand, you may want to seal it up so that it doesn't affect you for the rest of the night. So that full list will be forthcoming when you go through the email and also on the event page. One item I have forgotten to mention as well, mandatory, bring a buff. I don't mind what kind it is. It can be a Thur or it can be a buff brand, but I definitely want one of these along for everybody. Now they work great for multiple reasons. They work well for wiping stuff out of your eyes or off your face, keeping your neck and face warm, but you will need them for one of the tasks on the night. So that is just a tube-like cloth like this, buff or a Thur. So in terms of the 12-hour hurricane heat, I'm very excited to be running this event for you all. We are having it at Bright, which is a magnificent location, and it does mean that this weekend is also going to be one of the very, very, very few true trifecta weekends in the entire world. So you will be having the Sprint, the Super, the Beast, the Ultra, the Hurricane Heat, and the 12-hour Hurricane Heat all on the one weekend. You are a very lucky bunch of Spartans. So if you have any questions regarding the gear list, you can put them up inside the Facebook page. You can contact me directly. However, gear list is there, times are there. There should be very little questions outside of that. If it is something that is repeatedly brought up, I will also put the answer up in the event page. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all in a few weeks' time. I hope you are all training hard for this event. It will be incredibly rewarding and incredibly challenging, and there's going to be a few things in there that some of you have never seen.